Hey, what's up, dudes? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a different kind of video. For all the people who are clicking on this video and who are from my channel, this is a very different video. And for the people who are new to the channel, this is probably a very different type of video than you're used to watching. This is not like a 20 to 40 minute, highly edited, highly scripted review of Kingdom Come Deliverance II. This is just me sitting down, spitballing my thoughts on this absolutely incredible game that I've had a fantastic time in. Now, due to how good this game is and how many things can be spoiled that really I wouldn't personally want spoiled, I am using trailer footage and potentially like preview gameplay footage. I'm just too far into the game at this point when I decided that I actually wanted to like make a video about it. I'm just too far in to show anything because it spoils something that I didn't even know existed until I got to that point. So I just want to keep it as spoiler free as I can, even if that means like just using trailers and preview gameplay footage. So apologies for that. Now, on to the title of this video, because it's kind of a wild one, right? Like it harkens back to the old meme of Skyrim with guns talking about Far Cry 3. This game, there's just not a better comparison for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It really is like the medieval Red Dead Redemption 2. And if you played Red Dead 2, and if you've enjoyed it as much as I do, you understand that comparison when talking about this game. The feel of the game. Even though this game should be right up my alley, it really wasn't even on my radar. I was an original backer for Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. If I remember correctly, and I'm not thinking about Hell Let Loose, Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 started on Kickstarter. And the whole reason I backed that game was the combat system. It was fantastic. It was something we really hadn't seen before. Like, we had For Honor, and we had a couple of other games like that. Like, I think Chivalry was out. But this game looked like it was taking it to the next level of, like, realism. But there was just something about it that never really clicked with me. Like, even, like, putting, like, 20-so hours into the game, there was just a point where I got annoyed and I stopped playing. So, KCD2 wasn't even on my radar. I saw that it was coming and I was like, like, whatever. And then, like, on a whim, I'm like, fuck it, I'll try it. And boy, am I glad I did. Just to get this out of the way real quick, this game makes monotonous tasks so fun, right? So I live with my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law is my roommate, along with, obviously, my wife and his girlfriend. And, like, every time my wife and him, like, look over, they see me blacksmithing, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, dude, I'm having so much fun right now. KCD2 manages to do what Red Dead Redemption 2 did for me, which it made monotonous tasks fun. Skinning an animal, hunting, crafting, shit like that. Blacksmithing, I've honestly probably put 3 hours of real life time into blacksmithing on this game. There's just something about it. Like, it's so much fun to sit and do. And that's pretty much the whole game, right, dude? Like, there are so many things you can do. And the direct comparison to Red Dead 2 is the open world and, like I said, the monotonous tasks, but mainly, like, obviously the open world in the aspect of just going around and exploring and finding interesting shit. This is not a Ubisoft game. This is not a game where you boot it up, complete the tutorial, talk to like 2 of the dudes in the town that you start in, and then have so many ridiculous amounts of markers placed all over your map. You do have markers on your map, but some of the most enjoyable experiences that I've had in the game have came from just like wandering around and finding people in the woods, on the road. There are quests that you actually start by finding people on the road. Like, I don't want to give too many spoilers here, but there was a certain person that I ran across on the road who attempted to rob me, and instead I made a deal to help him out, went to a camp, fought another guy for this guy's honor, helped him out with what he needed, and he went on his way. And that was like a 3-hour quest that started from me just being like, okay, I need to get from this town to this town. I'm going to ride there. And I came across this guy on the road. Like the one time I decided to take the main roads. Like it was fantastic. And there are so many different instances of that. That just happened in my play session today. That's why I'm referencing it. There's just been so many other instances of it happening and having just as interesting quest lines and outcomes as that situation. It's just fantastic. And like I said, this game wasn't even on my radar because of I didn't really enjoy KCD1 that much. It absolutely should be. It's a weird thing because like it's right up my alley. Like even though if you're familiar with this channel, like I really like fighting games. My favorite games of all time like are Red Dead 2, Baldur's Gate 3, and The Witcher 3. So I'm like heavily into RPGs. And man, I am just so glad I clicked with this game so early on. The characters in this game are so compelling. Lord Hans Capon of Lepia, however you say that. Henry, this time around, dude. So much character. Some of the other dudes that you meet further into the game, some returning characters from the first game that I remember. And the newer characters that were introduced, they're obviously very, very popular historical figures during this time period that you end up coming across. Like it's so well written, the interactions between the characters and how you can decide to handle different situations. I do feel like this is one of those games that has the illusion of choice, although that's mainly when it comes to the story. You can truly choose to play this game however you want. Like if you want to be a knight in shining armor who's only doing respectable and honorable things, you can do that. That's mainly what I do. I try to stay to that, but I've had a couple instances of like, I gotta do bad here. That's the easiest way I'm gonna get through this. And that's how I'm going to do it. But for the most part, I try to stay honorable. But if you want to be like a disgusting, dishonorable thief who steals his way to riches and robs and murders and, you know, everything that goes along with that, you can absolutely do that. And if you want to be like the gray area, you can do that. But when it comes to the main story, I feel like you have the illusion of choice. And I've just happened to end up picking the right decisions because I have seen the outcomes of some other what I felt and in the moment when I was playing to be big decisions. But I mean, it's so that is such a minuscule problem, not even a problem. I'm nitpicking at that point compared to like how fantastic the storytelling actually is in the game, how NPCs remember the choices that you make in the game, how the world is affected by the choices that you make in the game, outside of the main story for the most part, obviously, because it seems like they are heading in a direction. It is a historical game, so things have to happen in a certain way, but the side quests, not so much. And that's kind of where like the bread and butter of the game is. It's such a contradicting statement because the main story is absolutely fantastic with all of these excellently written characters, but then the side quests are just as good. So like you're going back and forth on being like, no, this is what makes the game good, and then you're like, no, this is what makes the game good, and then it's like, oh shit, dude, I really love blacksmithing. It's a game that is so great in so many different aspects that it's hard to nail down what makes it so fucking great. And I feel like I also had that problem with Red Dead 2, not so much Baldur's Gate 3 or even The Witcher 3, which I think Baldur's Gate 3 is a better game out of all the games I've talked about. But it's easier to nail down why I like Baldur's Gate 3. It's easier to nail down why I like The Witcher 3. It's harder to nail down why I love Red Dead 2 and KCD 2 so much, because there's just so many different aspects of those games and that are comparable to each other that are to love. They are there to be loved. There's just so many different aspects. It's hard to nail down what keeps me coming back day after day to put more time into it, because one day I'll be spending like a straight literal 45 minutes to an hour on blacksmithing and gathering tools to blacksmith, making money to buy more tools, to buy better stuff, selling that, going to different towns, buying out their stock, taking that to a different town. Like, I'll just have hours where I'm sitting there doing that, and it's fantastic. And then I'll have other days where I play the game where I'm like, all right, I'm going to knock out some side quests. And I'll have these absolute fantastic stories where I'll go from this person then to this person to help because the first person sent me there after a long quest line, then to the last person, which ends up tying back to the beginning of the game in a major way and leads into the next main story part. And that was all from a side quest, and a pretty minuscule side quest that I think most people. It's fantastic. And then you have the days where you play the main story and it's like, holy shit, this is so gripping. Like, it's so hard to nail down in so many different ways. And then, like I said, you have like the open world to explore. So many of the different random encounters that you have that don't really get old. Like, yeah, you come across some of the same encounters, like bandits holding up people on the road, bandit camps, stuff like that, beggars, but none of them are really the same, right? Because I'll come up to a beggar who's literally just asking for coin, and then the next beggar that comes up to me will be a quest line that directly ties back into your story and their story later in the game. And here I was just thinking, oh, it's another beggar. But, like, I actually just got to the point in the game where that comes full circle. Like, it's insane. Like, I feel like that's something that Baldur's Gate 3 did, but didn't do as well as KCD 2 and Red Dead 2 does, right? Baldur's Gate 3 is the better game to me. But these games, Red Dead 2 and KCD 2, just have a different feeling to them that make them fantastic games in their own right. And I think, as wild as, you know, the title is to this video and as memey as it is at this point, it's a very, very real and direct comparison. Because I don't know, I could be wrong, but it does feel like these devs took a page out of Red Dead 2's book to make this world feel as alive as it possibly could. Now, while I still prefer Red Dead 2 because of the setting, that was another thing that kind of pushed me away from KCD in general, was the medieval setting. I've never been medieval. It's been classic Rome, or historic Rome, historic Greece, Macedonia, shit like that. And then you jump forward and it's the Wild West for me. So I really got gripped in by Red Dead 2. But KCD 2 has made me love this era, this point in history, and care about these characters and care about this political intrigue that was going on between King Wingsclass, however you say his name, and King Sigismund, however you say his name. Very, very difficult names to pronounce. It's actually made me a fan of this point of time in history, and I am a big historical fan. I love it. So that's another thing that it's just done really well. It tells such a good story in this time. Man, there's just so many. You could literally sit here. I'm going to end up going around in circles because I don't script my videos. But there's so many great things you can say about this game. I've seen people say that they are like at 100 hours in the game, and they're still near the beginning of the game and just picking flowers and making blacksmith swords, shit like that. Still find that, like, there's side quests that I even missed at 50 hours in, you know, the earlier parts of the game. It's so fucking good. I really made this video just to gush about it because I think this is something special. I think this is a generational game. In the same way that Red Dead 2 was, in the same way that Baldur's Gate 3 still is, in the way that The Witcher 3 was. I think this is one of those games. It's going to go down as one of the greatest RPGs ever made. They really caught lightning in a bottle this time. As much as people who really like KCD 1, you know, as much as those people, the people who like that game love that game, right? KCD 2 is just, it is lightning in a bottle. It's one of those games where it's like, you know this needs a sequel, but you almost don't want it to have a sequel because of how fucking good it is. Kind of like Bloodborne in that sense. It's so good, like I'm scared to have a sequel, and I'm not even all the way through the game yet, right? Like, I am barely halfway. You know, I've just met a certain little devil and haven't went past that. For the people who know, right? So, like, I'm 50 hours in, that's the point I'm at. I'm already scared to get a sequel because of how fantastic it is. Man, I like the title of the video says, it is the medieval Red Dead 2. It is just one of those games that grips you with its living, breathing world with all of the different things that you can do and experience. It's fantastic. If you were on the edge about buying this game, you're into RPGs and you don't mind in-depth mechanics, instead of, walking up to a blacksmith forge and pressing 3 buttons and you've made 25 different swords. If you like actually completing tasks, doing it, feeling immersed, dude, this is the game for you. Drop the money on it. It's fucking fantastic. Warhorse has done it. Again, lightning in a bottle, a generational fucking game. We'll see if they can catch that lightning twice with the inevitable sequel that we'll get to this. I hope they can, because if they do even half as good as this game is, it'll still be a fantastic game. But yeah, dudes, I want you guys to let me know what you think about this masterpiece in the comments down below. Very interested to hear your thoughts. I had to talk about this game. I kind of want to move the channel in this direction a little bit, talking about more than just fighting games, because I also want to talk about Monster Hunter Wilds, which is also my first Monster Hunter game that I'm having a blast with my wife. So we'll probably have that video coming out sometime next week after that. I'm kind of taking my time with videos now, thinking about what I want to talk about and making sure it's an important topic for me, instead of just throwing shit out because I feel like I need to. Because I feel like I was getting back in that habit. I don't like that. But I'm still here, not going anywhere, just taking my time. Thanks for watching, dudes. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments down below. My name is Toot, and I've been your host, and I will see you dudes next time. Peace out.